Do you know what I also meant to say?
Yeah.
Also, a la All Stars 5, you know it's a bad season when the entrance looks or their promo looks.
Yo, there's so much to unpack with all of that too, and I just don't know if we should even talk about it.
The promos?
Yeah.
I mean, what's there to say other than it's just their entrance look in front of this weird, like, Australian road with, like, a dingo crossing sign or whatever this is. Kangaroo Crossing.
Kangaroo Crossing sounds like a version of Animal Crossing, but it's down under only. It's what Dinkum wanted to be. But they couldn't
dinkum
do
that
it.
couldn't dink.
Yeah. Well, we are finally talking down under.
Good day, good day,
Good day. Aussie.
Oi,
Oi.
oi.
I did like that. I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
That was adorable. So this is my first time seeing this season ever. And you've seen this.
I already knew what you were going to get yourself into. You crazy girl.
You sat and waited a week for this nonsense.
So yeah, that's what I texted Jer when Jer was telling me in the midst of them watching it how crazy this season was. I said, I can't believe I used to wait weekly for fresh content of this.
Now, I mean, we're so spoiled now with so much Drag Race because like back then, this probably would have been maybe dual airing with UK2, but I don't have my timeline up to know if that's true.
Yeah.
But now I think we are recording, breaking the fourth wall for those of you at home. Starting next week, we're gonna have Global All Stars airing with Philippines, with UK, with España, all at the same time.
I'm watching all 4 of them.
I can't even process that much drag all at once.
That's as just sucks because it's all 4 seasons I actually like. I'm interested in watching because I never miss España, I never miss UK, and like I'm already halfway through Global All Stars, so I'm not gonna finish.
You're invested,
yeah. And Philippines, I wouldn't miss for the world.
Right. You are the equivalent of the drag chasers that are here in SoCal that like will be at Hamburger Mary's Long Beach on Monday to see Landon, and then will be at VIP to see Mayhem, and then we'll be at Executive Suite on Wednesday to see Morgan, and then you're up in WeHo all weekend watching all of them, and it's like, girl, how are you keeping up?
Yeah, except I have too much social anxiety to actually like do all that, so I just do it from home.
Right. Same as fuck for me. I have to say before we start and like actually get into this, I'm loving our band t-shirt thing that's
oh my
happening.
god, yeah, me and No Doubt, and then you and you
2000
5 Dreaming in Color t-shirt.
Jump 5 was that girl. They may have been subversive Christianity, but
Subversive. Have you ever had someone misread and be like, love your Jumps shirt?
Oh, all the time. When I was in I would have been high school is when I got this shirt. I've had this since I think 2000 maybe 5 or 6. This shirt's old as balls, man.
She's a relic.
Yeah, she is.
Well, it's come back around to now. It's like ironic. Like people would pay money for it again.
Oh, totally.
You know?
Completely. So, okay. Drag Race Down Under. I just kind of want your thoughts before we start with episode things. Just your thoughts on this being a combination of Australian drag and New Zealand drag, as well as that being judged by RuPaul, a member of the American community.
American.
American.
Well, because I think Australia and Kiwi merging is fine.
Yeah.
I think the Kiwis usually are more successful, as you'll see as you continue to watch, is like usually Kiwis are a bit stronger than the Australians, which I mean...
Drag the Aussies.
Sorry, Aussies.
Oi.
But, I mean, I think it's good to mix them because I think there's enough overlap and enough similarity, even if they might not necessarily all, like, work together.
Right.
I feel like you can't have just, like, a New Zealand's Drag Race or just the immediate Australia's.
Yeah.
Because either of them would be lacking without the other.
Yeah. Kind of similar in vein to, like, the UK, where you've got like the Brits and the Scots together.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously our country is the mess that it is, but I mean, I could only think of it as like if we just had West Coast or East Coast drag. You know?
Totally.
And how it would not feel totally complete.
Would it be too regional?
So regional, doll. So regional. But yeah, I'm all for that, but I'm not here for RuPaul or Michelle.
Right.
I mean, honestly, Michelle's she's going to take over as the main host for season 4, which I'm very curious to watch, but
same.
I think it's just hard because, like, there's culture that is not being touched on. And, like, there's even less understanding than there is with UK culture.
Completely.
Because, like, yeah, like, we speak the same language, but, like, so much of, like, what influenced their gay culture is different, and, like, what, like, their queer scene is like is so different. So it's just, like, there's a different level of understanding, and I think having someone who really understands it and is able to celebrate it while also kind of, like, translating it or being a proxy for the audience who doesn't know it would be a lot better than someone like RuPaul.
Completely. I agree. I think the series, much like the UK, is sort of neutered by RuPaul's presence.
Yeah.
Because they're not only tailoring their drag to television, but then they're tailoring it to someone who's not even in their culture.
Yeah.
And a lot of times this season, I was reminded of that moment a couple of weeks ago we talked about with Joe Black, where she was doing the cathedral for her hometown look. And Michelle and Rue were both commenting on it as if they're so culturally aware of this cathedral.
Yeah.
And even these areas of the UK that they're trying to be knowledgeable about. And I noticed a lot of times this season that it was left in the final edit, which sort of even diminishes their authority more, where they say, I don't really know about this. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any point that is excusable when a host says, can you educate me about your region so I can judge your drag better?
Yeah.
Like, that's your job to do your homework. If you want to judge that region, you better make sure you go in with every bit of information, not asking the queens to help you figure out how to properly deal with them.
No, that makes sense completely.
We have, I think, a lot of moments that are like that bring the energy off quite often. So I want to say, just from watching this, I really feel like maybe it was supposed to go to Art initially. Do you remember when right before they announced this series, Art got that mini series on WoW, and it was like, I don't remember what it was even about, but I remember her doing a bunch of green screen things in that classic white dress with the paint splotches that her workroom entrance was, the exact same hair and everything. And she had gotten a little mini series. And then they announced Drag Race Down Under, and I'm like, oh, Art will probably host it. Then she wasn't. It was announced that Rue was doing it. She was the first one in the room. So then I thought, like, was she maybe meant to be the winner since they were kind of already priming everything, like how they did with the Viv?
Yeah.
Giving her the UK ambassador and then having her be the very first winner. I almost wonder if it was supposed to. And then she flubbed so badly in that Snatch game that they were like, well, we'll deviate over to Scarlett.
Yeah.
Oops, she did blackface. Let's give it to Karen. She's not really doing as good as we wanted her to. I guess Kita's still here. Here's our winner.
Mess on mess on mess.
There's so much to talk about. There's so much. So let's get into it. Episode 1, we've got our introduction to all these queens. The energy was kind of like cunty.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a little more like sizing each other up ferocious.
Yeah. And it wasn't like ooh, she's serving cunt. It was like, y'all are kind of mean.
Yeah. I feel like that is also a thing with the international seasons, though. I feel like they always are a little more like intense in the workroom.
Yeah. Same in Holland as well.
Yeah.
It got to be a cultural thing of their TV being, I think we talked about this, their reality TV being maybe like a decade behind where we're at, where everyone is sort of observer affecting themselves.
Yeah.
They're being more presentational, where their reality TV is still a lot more cutthroat, bitey, that classic good cycle 1 to 7 of America's Next Top Model type mentality.
Yeah, and they're also they're probably being prompted differently. They're like not afraid to speak in a certain way. Yeah.
Girl, your mic said she does not want to do it.
I know,
today.
me trying to like finish this thought while screwing my mic back together.
She is on a journey.
She said go gadget.
I hope she brought her passport because she is going south quick.
Stay with me. Stay with me.
And a lot of them seem to know each other as well, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
We've had these smaller regional seasons, like in the UK, where it is smaller than the US. But a lot of the girls are like, oh, I don't really know her. I've never seen her before.
Well, I mean, even like for the case of the New Zealanders, all 3 of them work in the same club.
Yeah.
It's like 2 bosses and their employee.
And Kita and Anita are both Elektra's boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like Kita and Anita themselves are like coworkers, business partners.
Right.
So it's like there's so much like lore and complexity.
I remember Art and Karen doing all kinds of things together as well before the show.
Yeah, it was funny because I was like reading through and I forgot how close Art and Karen were this season.
And they had like no storyline.
Yeah, it wasn't acknowledged, but Art was team Karen when she left.
Yeah.
First time, spoilers.
It was like Trixie and Pearl pretending that they didn't know each other.
Oh my God,
all,
yeah.
But they were like close ass friends hanging out at each other's places and stuff. Like, it was very reminiscent of that. I'm like, what? Why aren't y'all talking about your friendship at all? A lot of the storyline in episode 1 was about Kita and Anita, and I was kind of surprised that didn't go anywhere because I felt like there was an ample opportunity during that design challenge to put them against each other, but we did not see that happen. Other thing I'll say is the mugs this season, it's muggy out here.
Muggy, yeah. Are you talking about
all of them?
Elektra.
Well, bad mugs have to be appreciated.
She was a model before the accident. Did you live? Did you actually live for that though? I think you lived for it though.
I'm living. Are you living like me? The very first mini ever, just want to talk about this really quick, is an improv with Rue.
And Taika Waititi before his fall from grace.
On Zoom.
Yeah, they zoomed in Taika.
They zoom in every celebrity this season, which was such an interesting pocket memory.
Yeah.
I forgot about this pocket of time.
They said, we live in a dark time. Come zoom us.
Yeah, they did not do that in the UK, so things must have been much stricter in New Zealand, Australia.
Well, they were very strict because that's why they could actually like have a summer.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm. This improv we threw, I thought, was odd. Wait, is there a better word than odd? I don't know if this is a really great introduction to who you are as a queen.
I mean, because the script has nothing to do with it.
Right.
Because the most memorable one is Elektra, who literally just screams at the top of her lungs, which is not in the script at all. But she screams so loud that she scares RuPaul.
It was kind of iconic. I lived.
I live for etc. doing this like, oh, kind of voice. I don't even remember what the line was, but I remember that she's like, oh, what's up, wow, what's up, wow, oh. Like this like very like Tootsie Lou kind of.
Tootsie Lou! I feel like of the pantheon of international first ever mini challenge. So we had that photo challenge where they missed their head in the UK that I thought was pretty fun.
I get better head than all the girls here.
The Holland one up until this point where they dunked him in water was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Climbing the ice in Canada was really funny.
Yeah, I feel like that one's probably the most iconic.
That's the most iconic. And I feel like this one was maybe on the lower end. Is that bad?
They hold a gun, say line. And then RuPaul's gonna fuck with you for like 5 minutes so that they have content, because that's actually not a challenge.
Right. It like wasn't a proper get to know you. It was what you said. Here's a hostage situation.
Yeah.
Be funny or don't. It's your life and career on the line.
Yeah, but I can't ever forget Elektra screaming at the top of her lungs.
It was like very Jimbo energy, climbing that mountain and just screaming, shocking everyone.
Yeah.
I almost kind of like that shock factor, that initial one, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you better make it known that you are here to just be a menace.
Yeah,
you know?
be a menace, act a fool.
Act a fool, girl. Act a fool.
April Fool, girl.
April Fool, girl. So then our very first runway category ever is a nude illusion and a no place like home look. You're siding at nude illusion. I side at nude illusion. Break down your thoughts and feelings.
I just
concisely.
I just don't understand why they thought it was so successful the first time. They're like, God, people loved that nude illusion challenge from season 7.
I just loved that nude illusion in season
Because, like,
7.
it's been some time.
Born naked, baby. Born naked.
It'd be like one thing if they were within like a year or two of each other, like they were
Right.
trying to make it a thing. But the fact that it's been so long that it feels like a legacy challenge, because like an album or two has come out since Born Naked. So it's like, this isn't fresh.
No.
This isn't this is not fresh content.
No.
And I hated it then and I hated it now because it produces a lot of atrociously ugly looks.
Horrid looks. Really, really horrid, awful looks. And I agree with you there. I don't know if a nudity challenge is necessarily like the best way to get to know someone. And they pair these together as a get to know you situation.
Yeah, naked and hometown. What a combo.
Hometown totally makes sense. I think you and I both turn up and love a hometown runway. I think that's
Of course.
a great way to start out any season. But a nude runway is all about judge taste and personal drag queen taste. And those two things might not intermesh.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, people are going to interpret it very differently. And some people are going to misinterpret the assignment. And there's going to be just disaster, which I think did happen.
Yes.
I think the most successful, in my opinion, was Art.
Okay.
I really, really loved Arts. And then, I mean, to be honest, I loved Karen's too.
I was gonna say Karen's probably has my favorite.
The tan. So funny.
You can give it to her. She comes in so strong this first
does.
episode. Her entrance is probably my favorite of the group. Of her walking into the camera saying, "I can't see this mark anywhere."
Yes.
Was so funny. And then that nude illusion was great. And then the rest of it is absolute utter shit garbage.
Drag Karen from finance
No.
out of the dining hall during her
Listen.
lunch break.
Listen.
Kick her out on the street. Give her final check.
Listen.
I'm listening.
That's all. No,
She does come in hot though.
I just my perception of her is also tainted because of like all the controversy around her and the tattoo thing. So I'm like, I don't know where that settled, because I never saw like, maybe if there was resolution to that. I don't know, her getting them lasered. What's the resolution to that? I have this racist caricature tattooed on my body, like.
Right. So that's another thing about this season, is that there is so much scandal.
Yeah.
Just in this one season. And I heard this happens again in season 2.
I'm trying to remember what happens in season 2. Like I say, I block them out individually, but like, it's hard because I mean, obviously we're looking at it with like our perspective in the States.
Sure.
But I feel like regardless, that doesn't excuse it.
No, not in 2024.
Yeah.
What was going on during these like 2-3 years from season 12 to like UK, whatever that was? What was going on with production? Because like they were always just picking someone that was incendiary for the worst reason possible.
Well, and it's so hard though, because you know, if they didn't cast Karen season 1, fans were going to be asking for every season because Trixie and Katya named her by name.
Oh, yeah, and we're constantly talking about
so
her.
she was going to be named and asked for every season if it didn't happen. But unfortunately, I mean, that her controversy, unlike the other Gettles, hers didn't make it to camera.
No,
hers is an off-camera controversy, more just like something between the fan base.
I do remember that blowing up quite a bit on Twitter and a lot of conversation about that.
Yeah.
And I really don't know what the resolve was, but I do remember hearing about that. I forgot to mention that our other regular judge is Reese Nicholson.
Love.
Oh, I loved him this season.
I think he's so fun. I love Reese. He's still with us.
Yeah, thankfully.
like he hasn't died. No, Reese is still with us, and I am glad because I think he's a great judge. I think he's fun.
Yeah.
He adds the small bit of Australian flavor there is.
Mm-hmm. That was really needed. So we'll kind of tackle this season by elimination. Our very first out is JoJo's a hoe. Can I say something?
Say
This
it.
is a safe space. I thought she was high this week.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say I thought she was hot, and I was like, me too.
Well, I mean, yeah, that too. JoJo was so fascinating in the nude category. Was it the most polished of the night? I don't think it was like perfection, but I thought Electra was worse. And then her actual hometown look was really stunning and beautiful. And
I quite liked the hometown look.
yeah, and I loved that message that Australia was and always will be native land.
Yeah.
That was really
hot.
important. And I think that whole conversation about Indigenous people is a story that does not get told on Drag Race very often,
Yeah.
if ever. I mean, I'm trying to think of people that even had that conversation. I feel like Alona was given some space in Canada to talk about being First Nations.
Yeah.
I feel like, God, I'm trying to think. Has there been anybody else that has gotten to share that story on Drag Race?
I feel like we don't give a lot of Indigenous platforming, so I feel like we always need more of it. And when we do get it, it should be, platform more and listen to more.
Right. It felt kind of gross that she was the first one out because I felt like there were worse people in the room, specifically Electra.
I mean, okay, so who'd you put in the bottom with Electra?
Coco.
Spill.
I really want to say I think Coco was beautiful. Beautiful. But, I mean, your mug can only take you so far when your outfits are not giving what needed to be gave.
The hard part is most of them I'm judging on their born naked look because I think most of their hometown looks are actually quite solid.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really hate anyone's hometown look, but there are quite a few naked looks I don't like, and that affects my judging. Like, I want to say Maxi because I didn't like her born naked look, but then, like, her hometown look is pretty good, except for that I don't like the wig. And then, like, I don't like Kita's born naked look, but her hometown look is fine. So, like, it's hard.
I felt like maybe this is me judging from what I see on Drag Race in the mainline season. It felt like everything was a little low key look wise.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely looked more like bar clothes, which is odd because every other international season, their very first one, everyone brought
Crazy
the looks because they
Yeah.
were like, we don't know if we're gonna get renewed or not. Where it felt like everyone was like, I'd wear this to perform an Ariana song.
Yeah,
I'd wear
got
this if I did Rihanna. So I'll wear that, I guess.
But circling back to JoJo, I actually really like them, and I really like their energy. I like their kind of like don't give a fuckness.
Yeah.
They were very chill and like, yeah. I liked how what's the word? I don't know. They were spicy. Like,
Yeah.
I think that they would have created like good sparks in the workroom if they had stayed around longer. Because I think they have a really like matter-of-fact way of speaking. And they were just really cool. I really like their vibe. So I wish they had stayed around longer.
They seemed like they had an interesting story. And one of my biggest surprises in this season was that the people that had an interesting story to tell, they kind of booted them off pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite understand that. You know whose looks I really loved? I mean, I already mentioned that I loved Art's nudity look, but that Melbourne look was so hot. That plain black, like, smock into the graffiti. Bitch, I lived.
And she was just safe, right?
She was.
She was immediately being...
I'm like, this girl
downsized.
was bringing it, and they were not featuring it at all. They had other stories they wanted to tell. And I don't know if I loved those stories that they wanted to tell. So they are the first one out. They lip sync to the very first song ever on Drag Race Down Under, which is Tragedy by the Bee Gees.
Tragedy.
This is a great song. And it felt like it was performed well. A lot of the lip syncs are interesting this season.
Yeah.
Interesting is the word. I will say Electra really did eat up that lip sync.
Yeah,
Pussy
she's
was
a really...
everywhere.
What?
Pussy everywhere.
Pussy everywhere. She's a really impressive performer.
Mhm.
Like, really cool. She can throw that body around. She performs very, like, intensely, like, aggressively, passionately, but it's fun.
Do you know what JoJo was serving in that lip sync?
Tell me.
If you're ever at a drag show early and you'll see the new queens coming in for their tip spots and they'll walk around like, where's the DJ? I just want to turn in my music.
Oh my god. She was doing the looking for the DJ?
Yes.
She was giving the looking for the DJ.
She was looking for them so she could give them her little iPod. That's what she was serving to me in that runway or during that lip sync. Our second out is Coco Jumbo during Snatch Game. Coco's storyline is so tiny.
Not during Snatch Game.
Wait. Oh, that's right. I misread this. Episode 2 is Snatch Game where Art goes home but does not go home.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk Snatch Game at all?
I mean, there's not much to talk about except for RuPaul saying, Anita, you are the hands down winner of the Snatch Game.
Yeah.
I think that says enough about the Snatch Game, because, I mean, we've had a lot of bad Snatch Games, but we never had one that RuPaul says you're the clear winner.
The clearest.
Even in any challenge,
Yeah.
let alone in Snatch Game, you're the clear winner because everyone did so shit.
I felt unsafe watching this Snatch Game.
It's uncomfortable. Okay, it's so controversial. What did you think of Etcetera's character? The dingo mother.
Okay. I am not of this culture, so
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to laugh at this.
Well, because, like, the real life story is pretty fucked
It's
up.
horrible. Am I like a really awful person that I giggled?
Can I spill my truth?
I wish you would.
I feel like if... How do I say this? I feel like if this happened now, not that it would be okay now, but I would be more offended if people had a problem with it now, because, like, no one has anything to say with, you know, stories of real life people getting murdered and, you know, horrific things happening to them in all these different crew triumph shows they watch.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna clutch your pearls about this, I feel like that is a little pick and choosy. I feel like in general, if we don't want to talk about real life crimes that have happened to people and, like, real life, like, tragedies of, like, the law and mishandlings of the law, then I feel like we shouldn't have a whole genre dedicated to it.
Completely.
But because, like, what happened to her absolutely is tragic and fucked up. But I feel like we, like, watch with popcorn way shittier things now on streaming services on a daily. But people were really upset about it when this happened.
Well, and the most interesting thing to me is that one of Anita's best jokes was, I was asked the secret to a long life, and I said, don't piss me off and wear a seatbelt. A Diana death joke?
Absolutely crazy. She was crazy for that.
She had such a good Snatch Game. That was incredible.
It was hilarious. It was really funny.
She made a horridly morbid joke at the people's princess. And so if we're, like you said, if we're going to pearl clutch and gasp collectively, we also need to give the same gasp to Anita's joke.
I think they're also a little harsher over there, just in general.
Totally.
just a little like, I don't know if harsh is the right word. I also I don't want to say the word abrasive. Like, what's the word? They're just a little more like hardened. Like,
Yeah.
just like even just how they use cunt and it doesn't have the same effect as it does here.
Right.
Like, I think everyone's just a little more like toughened up to things.
Totally.
Like,
And I don't mind that, in my opinion. I think there's cultural differences that we have to understand while we're watching a TV show that's produced somewhere else, that there's
Yeah.
going to be something different. So, like, you know, I was just trying to have fun with it and be like, this is drag that I wouldn't normally see.
yeah.
And unlike Holland's Drag Race, that did not stamp itself on why it was unique in the first episode, felt like in Down Under, they really stamped, like, we're unique because we say what we want to say, we do what we want to do, and we don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. That was a really cool POV that I liked to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, Coco sends home art to I'm That Bitch.
Which I think I told you before we filmed this episode, but apparently they lost the footage and had to refilm it.
Yeah.
Which like sounds fake, but like that is from the mouth of the queens themselves apparently. But like I still like have a hard time believing that because that's like so crazy.
Like what? They lose the footage and then they bring Art and Coco back at a late, or all of them back at a later date. Tell them to get back in their looks that they were wearing.
It sounds fake, right?
And
like,
then like recreate it.
It like doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't to me either.
Because imagine being Art, going through all of that means nothing, and then having to try to re-perform a lip sync you lost.
And do it badly.
Yeah.
So that you lose.
Like you knew you lost, so you have to do.
That seems fake. There's just no way. I mean, if they say that it happened, I believe them, but like that is crazy if that's the truth.
I really just have one more thought before we move on. That means nothing.
That means nothing. That was cunty.
But you were here. That means nothing.
She was so hot for that. Like, so many girls just try to be gracious about it.
Yeah.
And Art knowing it does not mean a damn thing that I was here.
And that honestly was before it got as saturated and like drowned in so many franchises and queens as it did now.
And to go home second, you might as well have not been there.
Yeah.
At that point. So I messed up in my notes. Yes. So Coco goes home in episode 3 in Queens Down Under, where they need to record in girl groups.
Queens Down Under.
I loved that
Our
hook.
duck is tight.
Queens Down Under.
We're doing it right.
I loved that hook. That was so nice. I don't remember really anything else about it, but do you live for girl groups?
Yeah, they're getting kind of tired now.
After UK has been so successful.
True, and it also so much of it comes down to the song. There are some songs I really like. I honestly like when they do like a remix to a RuPaul song, like they did in the most recent season of Drag Race. The show we're talking about. I mean, the most recent season of US. And like, if it's like written right. Some franchises I just all around don't really like. In España, a lot of times the girls sing the chorus as well.
Oh,
you'll get to it. When we do the one in España, I still it's like da da na da na es ser tu diva.
I'm so excited.
But they sing it as so off key. Oh God. God, I can't wait for us to watch España.
Oh, that's so soon.
But yeah, they're hit or miss for me.
Right.
I love a good girl group challenge though.
Do you live for this one?
This one's not very good.
No.
The song's great.
Yeah.
Which group do I like the most?
We had Fake Hoes and 3.5 Men.
Well, okay, so
Outback Fake Hoes. Sorry.
Outback Fake Hoes is that?
That's Scarlett, Anita, Coco, and etc. Where 3.5 Men are Karen, Kita, Electra, and Maxi.
Oh, of course, yeah. So I remember Scarlett's team more. I remember Etc's verse. Because I love Etc.
Yeah.
And I remember Anita's verse. And then I remember Electra's team and the whole drama with her team, of course. but yeah, like in terms of individual verses, because I feel like that's usually what I go off of is like whose verses can I actually remember?
I don't remember any of them.
Well, and this is also like again before it got so mishmash of like
Right.
now there's so many names they're trying to mash into one number. But I mean, even then, 8 verses, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first group is better. There's a whole thing of like Elektra's like trying to steal the thunder. But I'm noticing it more in hindsight that there definitely is like there's like a weird like not like well there was a rivalry between them, but with Elektra and Scarlet.
Right.
And like Scarlet seems to be the more polished, successful one, whereas like Elektra is the more like kind of underdog, except she's not an underdog because she's not made to be an underdog in the edit, which is so weird. But like, it's so funny because it within the regard of the fan base, she is the underdog and fan favorite of this season. The fan base really, really likes Elektra and really feels like she was given a raw deal. So it's funny to think that like the editors like totally like staked that wrong,
Missed it.
and like they put it all in on Scarlet, who ended up being so rejected and hated by the fan base because of everything that she did. And then like here's Elektra, who's kind of like this uncut gem that like didn't really get like the best run or the best chance, but also was really rough around the edges, but also really lovable. Sorry,
You're fine.
I kicked the charger to the computer. I was like, God, did I just destroy everything?
And then the podcast is over.
Yeah, but then she got more of like I don't even know what her edit was. Like, even when she did well, like she didn't get like an underdog edit, like in the Yeast Challenge.
We'll get to
I
that.
hate saying that.
The Yeast Challenge.
You
don't
know
like
in the Yeast
You know that
Challenge?
Yeast Challenge? Yeah, a lot of the tropes that are utilized are very different than what I'm used to seeing on reality TV.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because Down Under reality TV just genuinely has different tropes, or if this team didn't know what they were doing. Because another thing I noticed on the edit side was that they use soundboards like it's no one's business.
Oh my God, yeah, the soundboard of it all is crazy.
There's like bunk sounds, there's ping pong sounds, there's dab sounds, there's every sound that could have been used from freesfx.com was thrown in here.
They had the entire board.
Yeah, they got that year subscription so that they could use all of them.
Okay, I will say I really like their lip sync choices. Shake Your Groove thing.
So fun.
So fun, and it was such a fun lip sync. They really went for it.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say, well, because she's leaving. Love Coco Jumbo.
I really enjoyed her. I thought she kind of ate Elektra up in this lip sync. Is that bad to say?
Well, it's hard because Elektra was giving like moving her body dancing.
Yeah.
Coco was giving like feel the groove dancing.
Right.
Because Coco just has such like a feel good energy, and she's just like so fun and that's so infectious. And she really had that energy for this song as well. Whereas Elektra really had that like I am like dancing like. Elektra was giving the like bald 30-year-old who's like in the middle of the dance floor at the wedding, like going crazy.
Cease.
Am I wrong?
The bald 30-year-old.
Jacket off, long sleeve dress shirt and the vest. Going crazy at 10:45 p.m. at the wedding on the dance floor.
You're so right. And it's so disrespectful.
And I'm sticking to it. Whereas Coco definitely was more like soulful groove, like get into it, you know?
I mean, to be fair, I literally just said that JoJo looked like she was looking for the DJ to pass off her mic.
Yeah, so
you know,
we're both going to hell.
we're both
gonna get called out on Twitter.
If we don't, I'll be upset. Okay, so Third Out was, in my opinion, the most shocking of this season. In episode 4, we lose Anita Wiglet, who was the player to me.
Yeah, we lost the hands down winner of Snatch Game.
How do you send home the Snatch Game winner? And I didn't even think that her look was that bad. Am I crazy for that?
Well, because they really just were critiquing that we'd seen paper used as a material before.
So then why would you give it as a material at all?
And you're like, wait, you saw it used before when? In the challenge where they had to make things out of books?
Right.
When they only had paper?
In the money challenge where
Manila?
you gave them
in a wedge?
In a wedge.
Like, I don't know, because I'm pretty sure that was what her critique was that it just was like lacking originality.
Bruce said that it looked like burned pages from Michelle's book. And like, why would you even give them those materials if you don't want to see them? It's not like they picked to go to the store and buy those materials and then brought them to Drag Race. The other interesting thing that happens in episode 4 is that Art is brought back with no exposition.
Just, she was gone in episode, brought back. Now that the girl who sent her home was eliminated, we brought her back.
And not only that, but it was, who brought this trash in here? I guess we didn't take the trash out like we thought. Welcome back. Welcome back in, you trash queen.
Yes. Hey, trash. Hey, trash.
We are sashaying back to Drag Race Down Under.
We're giving you a second chance, trash.
But with no exposition, no reason why, no like we made a mistake. Oops, Art was contracted to be here till the end because we were supposed to give her a wow show and then canceled it. So here she is. Not, we feel like we want to give a second chance to someone. Nothing, just, hey, Art's back. All right, here's your challenge to make stuff out of crap.
But wouldn't it feel shady to be Coco Jumbo and like episode 2, send someone home. Episode 3, you get sent home. Episode 4, the person you sent home gets sent back.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Like, love me Art Simone. I'm not complaining that she came back because I love her, but absolutely no exposition. And also I feel like her run was not comparable to someone like Shangela, bringing her back because they brought her back for season 3 and they really gave her a lot of preferential treatment. Times where she did good, they rewarded her behavior. But then there have been other times where they brought back like Kenya and Carmen and immediately were like, horrible critiques, we want to get you out of here. Like she had such a different Rue-turn edit.
Yeah.
Than anyone. She got not even a Latrice edit. Like Latrice was treated better in All Stars 4.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, also like she didn't get the saved while or directly after being eliminated. It was just like she got an episode off. It's just so weird.
It very odd that she had this and then her storyline was really inconsistent. The storyline that was really missed here was Anita and Kita lip syncing together. They made a huge deal about them being friends in episode 1. And Anita had her old storyline of Kita could go home and that could damage her spirit.
Yeah.
And that one, I didn't think Anita's look was that bad in order to necessitate her being in the bottom at all. But if they were going to stick anybody else in the bottom with her, why didn't they put Kita down there, who had a disgusting, rotten, foul...
You didn't like it?
Despicable. Did you like it?
The IKEA bag with the balls? No.
That wasn't their commercial. So, Leah, you liked what they did. Tell me what you liked about it. I actually didn't like the commercial.
I didn't like it.
No, I did not like the IKEA bag with the Ronald McDonald balls. And the umbrella that they let etc. wear during her confessional. Just to be like, this is so ugly. I got to take it off before her bad taste rubs off on me.
Iconic.
Insane. And so, yeah, that was a really huge missed storyline. And we talked about in UK how there were times where storylines would crop up and then they did nothing with them.
Yeah.
And the girls are giving them content.
Yeah.
They choose to do nothing with it.
Yeah, we have 2 business partners that could have lip sync and one of them sent the front runner home, you know?
With very good reason they could have put Kita down there.
Yeah. And maybe Kita sending Anita home would have actually helped Kita's storyline.
Yeah. It would have bolstered her a little bit further in her win trajectory rather than her sort of weird up and down edit where she didn't do good, had a singular makeover win, continued to flounder, and then wins for some reason.
Weird up and down pole edit.
Come on, Jasmine Masters. The winner is Scarlett. And this, I think, is really the rise of Scarlett until we get her reveal, her backstory reveal.
Her dark backstory.
Very dark backstory.
Don't like the bitch, but she deserved the win. Mm-hmm. She ate
a lot of this season up.
She did.
She really did. The bottom two is Karen and Anita, and I wrote down in my notes that Karen dabs and they do a kazoo soundboard.
Yep.
Free SFX.
And also the way that
that's free SFX.
Do you know what I think about?
What do you think about?
When Morgan McMichaels laughed because she was in the bottom, she nervously chuckled and she got fucking reamed by RuPaul. Yeah. And then Karen from Finance dabs and it's just nothing.
Crickets. Ru says nothing.
Yeah. And then they really lip sync to Danny Minogue.
Yeah, Kylie's
good. Sister.
I begin to wonder.
And I begin to wonder.
A great song.
Every day is the same day.
It was really nice. Karen was really powerful. She has a lot of stage presence. I didn't notice Anita at all. Not even a little bit.
She's like a silly hee ha ha lip syncer girl.
Mm-hmm. It was weird to see her go home so early, though, because I saw her as a major player.
Yeah.
And she seemed like someone who was going to go to top 4.
Yeah.
That was very much her edit and presence in the first few episodes. Yeah. And then this one, it was like, yo, what just happened?
Yeah, because episode 2, she's immediately put almost on a different level above everyone else. Mm-hmm. She seems to be the alpha of the New Zealand girl. She seems to kind of be the alpha of the group comedically. Mm-hmm. And then out.
Gone.
And I think that's also where a lot of the public perception of the season starts going to shit too, because when Art left, people were really upset.
Yeah.
But then when she came back, people are like, what? And then Anita goes home the same episode. It's like things just already are starting to look real bad.
Yeah.
Real bad, real inconsistent, real there was no plan and they were just the second half of a Ryan Murphy season.
The way that you said that so matter-of-factly, and it's so true.
No, because have I talked about this with you before, where it's he writes the first half.
Yeah.
And then they do it, and then the second half gets written as it's airing.
And he gets bored.
And Scream Queens.
Scream
Queens, any American Horror Story. First half, gold. Second half, garbage.
Yeah.
The meme of the horse with the really detailed back half and then the stick figure front half.
That's this entire season.
Yeah.
It really seems like they had no plan. I very firmly believe with my whole heart, soul, and pussy that it was supposed to be, and the pussy, that it was supposed to be Art as the winner, and she went home and they suddenly reformed everything, but did not have a steady plan.
Yeah. I saw the plan and it was unsteady.
Yeah, it was Apocalypse, where they're like, okay, we're going to do a Fallout type show. Actually, you know what? I think this needs the devil.
Do you know what this needs? The devil.
You know what this also needs? Coven 2.0. What are you showing me? Put that away.
So
put that photo away.
Whenever we do these episodes, I always have the wiki of the episode, and then I have the wiki of all the looks so I can look at them on short notice.
I too have the wiki.
And so for the next episode, it has all of their challenge looks. And for everyone else, it's just their look in front of the green screen. But for Electra's, it's for whatever reason her in the challenge in the workroom.
A very sad look.
Listen.
How is her makeup so bad?
Listen. I know we wanted to talk about these episodes by girl as they were getting eliminated.
Yeah.
But going into the Cease commercial, we need to talk about Elektra.
I think we should talk about this episode in particular because we've talked about branding challenges many times. Put that away.
RuPaul.
Put RuPaul away. Put it away. I don't want to see it. I had to look at this already. I've got the wiki pulled up and it's horrible.
She's amazing for that.
But, okay, how is it that her Sheila in the Bush look was so clean?
Right.
What was that? Did Raven paint her face?
I feel
someone else did her makeup.
There was something, they're she needs to have a sleigh this
She needs to have 3 more hours. So give her more time. Give her another take. Okay, so we've talked about many times branding challenges, and this was the one you were looking forward to the most when we were talking about the soda cans in season 13. You were really looking forward to the yeast spread.
Because what?
So the girls in episode 5 have to market and brand a yeast spread, which is Vitamita Vegemite, right?
Yeah. So, okay. I love it because it's cultural.
Right.
But also, what?
Also, why did nobody do Vitamita Vegemite?
True.
I don't know if, like, maybe including Vegemite would have gotten them in trouble, but, like, I feel like that would have been a fun play on words and then do that.
So, okay, my opinion is I loved the prompt because, yes, it's cultural.
Right.
It's almost like if the UK, if it was like, I don't know much about the UK, but it's like if you have to do like an English breakfast or something. Just
that's
something
tea.
that's like recognizable. Tea.
English breakfast is tea, isn't it?
Oh, well, that too. But I meant like an
Oh.
English breakfast with like the blood sausage and all that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, you want
see
my
you.
blood sausage? I don't know.
Wake up now! Want some bangers and mash and blood sausage?
Yeah, maybe not that one. Maybe I regret it. But like I like it because like that's definitely very Australian. But like these girls were insane.
Yeah, insane. We have all of these different foods that they have to, or this specific food they have to market. I don't really like branding yourself through food,
Fair.
specifically when you limit it to one thing. Like,
A specific type of food.
I'm okay branding it to soup, kind of, because there's some things you can do with that.
Yeah,
but even
peanut
then,
soup.
Achoo, baby, achoo.
Achoo.
I like the idea of what branding a soda could be if you have the right combination of girls with the right amount of challenge intelligence for
Yeah.
it. But then you end up with all of the different sodas that we had where, you know, if this could have... no, never mind. This could not have been effective.
I was going to say, this could have been an email.
This could have been
This
an email.
challenge could have been an email.
It could have been a mini. How cool would that have been if this was just a mini?
Spill.
So there are a lot of different ways you can market yourself and brand yourself through products.
Yeah.
I don't know if food is always the gateway to do that, especially with drag queens who have probably the least to say about food because they're drinking all night long and then they hit up the Denny's at 4 a.m, get a Grand Slam, and then zoom home to do it all again the next day. Like, I don't know if their finger is on the pulse of marketing. And this poor woman that they brought in to come and supervise the set, who can apparently sell anything, looked like she had never met a drag queen ever.
Yeah. It was all too much for her.
She was gasping and pearl clutching. Michelle having to explain divine to her. I could not believe.
They had the wrong crowd.
She
had never
did not
met a
have
gay
the vernacular. For $1, name a gay person.
Yeah.
Suzanne, name one. I've talked so much about this. What did you think? Because you were most excited about this challenge to talk about it.
I mean, I thought that I love the prompt that it is something more personal. I get what you say, where a specific product is not the vibe. But I feel like a product that at least is like something a little more personalized than just a soda or something that feels so generic.
Sure.
At least it was like a little bit of like a play on their culture, and like I feel like they could have had more like, I don't know, more jokes or more personal experience that they could layer into it. But I think about piss so much.
Come on, yellow bandana.
Etc's commercial was so crazy.
It was insane.
And the amount of times that she said piss.
And Michelle commenting that it was a line that she should not have crossed on TV. When, who was it, Kita that did the divine and was shoving her finger in her nose.
Okay, yeah. And then Kita's commercial is crazy. And I go back and forth on like, is it dark-sided cringe? Is it like funny hee hee ha ha cringe?
A lot of them were gross.
Because that was the thing is like, okay, and yeah, that was what I meant to say is like, I can't think of another product challenge where everyone just went crazy like this. Like, because, you know, usually in a product challenge, there's people trying to earnestly sell it. Like,
BB.
Yeah, and like trying to really give you like a straight up product.
Mm-hmm.
So then the people that are acting a fool or like doing the really like weird subversive thing are a little funnier. This would be like if the soda challenge, everyone did Utica's take. You know?
Right.
It felt like a soda challenge where everyone was Utica like drinking from the udder. Like we had piss, we had Kita,
We had discharge.
we had literally like I just feel like we went so many crazy ways this challenge
Foul.
that like it just was so unexpected. And I mean, I guess I kind of prefer that than someone like straight laced trying to sell me like a soda like it's just a yummy soda. Like
Unless you're gonna do it really fiercely, like, is your blood sugar low?
yeah. Okay, so that's the thing is we didn't have any Simones. We just had a ton of Uticas.
We had all Uticas.
But that is just something that's so funny about the challenge is like it's already a weird product, and then everything about it is just so left of center.
Yeah.
But then also this is the cursed episode.
Right. So
This
we've
is-
talked enough about these horrible products.
So I think that's also probably why I think about the product so much is like this episode is just a fever dream. And that's honestly probably why I think about it so much too. It's just like we had this crazy yeast product commercial, everyone doing all this crazy shit. And then we go straight from that into the blackface scandal. Like what a fever dream of an episode.
Girl, that I wonder if she naturally brought that up on her own, or if production was like, we're gonna bring this up, so either you can address it now and get ahead of it, or it's gonna blindside you on the runway.
Well,
Because
okay.
I remember, I don't know if you remember this.
Yes.
I remember being on Twitter, and I remember there being all of these posts blowing up saying, this person's been cast for Drag Race Down Under in the first season, and this was before the episode even aired. And people were talking about the blackface scandal.
It's kind of like what happened with Captivating Cat.
Yeah, or Blair's DUI before she
yeah.
even got announced that
Yeah.
she was on it.
Sure.
I remember this cropping up. So like part of me wonders if the Redditors found out she was there and started blowing up the post, and it ended up reaching producers' eyeballs.
Yeah.
That they were like, we got to do something about this.
I don't want to say that. I don't want to say what anyone's intentions were.
Right.
But like my problem with watching it is it feels like it didn't get brought up because this was a serious thing that they were remorseful about, and they felt like this was the time to really like own up to it and talk about it.
Right.
But it did feel like it was the time to own up and talk about it in the sense of, well, I need to talk about this at some point. It felt like how do I say this? Like sometimes like when someone has something to address, it can be both true that it was something that needed to be addressed, but it also was a PR move. And like sometimes like, yeah.
This did feel like a PR moment.
Because it's like, I just don't think that like, maybe she would, but I just don't feel like it was brought up because it earnestly was something that she regretted and like wanted to address. And in the sense that, I mean, I'm sure she regrets it.
I'm positive.
I'm positive she regrets it. But what I mean is, if she felt 100% certain that no one would know about it or this would never get brought up,
Yes.
would she still talk about it in the workroom?
Or would you just bury it and say, I'm going to pretend that I never did this and hope that no one ever finds out because I'm not happy that I did it and I would love to
Yeah.
pretend that it didn't.
Yeah, because like...
I could see it being that situation.
Because I just feel like it would be hard to ever own up to it and admit you did it on Drag Race, being as TV Rue oriented as she seemed to be. She seemed to be the most Generation Rue and the most like poised for the show other than art of them.
Yeah.
And so I have to imagine that she's keenly aware of the show. And so because of that, I just don't believe she would bring it up if she didn't feel like it was already something the audience was going to be keen on.
Right. That's why I feel like it maybe have been production that brought it up. Because to me, it seemed like production may have had their fingers a little more involved than they normally do in other international seasons or more seasons in general. And I wouldn't be surprised if while the producers are sitting around watching the internet to see who's getting already tattled on that they've gone to camp, that suddenly they're seeing these posts cropping up and they're like, oh shit, this just happened. Rue, what do you want to do about this? Rue says, well, let her know because I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah.
And then they say, you can get ahead of this now and be in charge of this narrative and own up to it, or we'll blindside you. Well, however you want to do it, it's going to be brought up tonight.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels to me like a PR production thing.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, I don't know, if I had done something really awful, like if I had murdered a man and I knew I was going on TV and I thought my murder was clear, no one was ever going to find out. And then suddenly I heard whispers that maybe it was coming out. I'd be like, so I killed someone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to tell anybody that, but if it's going to come out, I might as well be in front of it.
No, it's true.
You know?
And so I think my biggest problem also with this episode transitioning to Who Went Home is the only person that really feels like they're holding her to task this whole episode
And
is
accountable.
etc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is etc. Who, one, holds her accountable, and two, I think really puts it best.
Yeah.
I think she really is well spoken, and that's something I've really always liked about etc. Is like, I think that they're an incredibly well spoken human. I think they're very smart, and I think that they understand social justice issues really well.
Right.
And I think that they are someone that's like this like younger generation, which I mean I think etc. is my age, but like someone from the younger generation who has like the younger brain and perspective on things, but still is able to articulate the issues and like speak about it in a way that can speak to multiple generations.
Right.
That's my personal opinion, because I think it's a balance of well spoken while being aware of these issues. And so it feels bad regardless of how she did this episode. I mean, like, even if she did bad, sure, but like it just sucks that like.
But did etc. do the worst?
I mean, Piss is the one I remember the most.
This was a fascinating, interesting branding experiment.
To me, it was kind of like heroin.
Heroin.
Maybe not as funny.
Yeah.
Definitely not as funny.
I thought it was silly.
It was silly.
It wasn't any more gross than Karen doing discharge or Kita doing yeasty nuts. Like, come on. Those are way more foul than
also,
talking about
I'm
pee.
biased because that yellow gown she was in was unironically so gorgeous. Her
Wasn't
piss look
it?
was so stunning.
What you just said was crazy.
Her piss look was so stunning. she's a vision in piss.
But yeah, I agree with you. I think they were so articulate with what they wanted to say. They were so eloquent and also extended grace.
Yeah.
And also said, I do not condone your behavior. Because I think we saw two different ways of that being approached tonight. We saw etc. saying, you have to do the work and prove that you are really sorry about this. You're not just virtue signaling right now.
Which I think is so valid. And, and I think etc. being the other young one was like, well, why is she saying this on Drag Race? Because like no one in their right mind would admit to doing blackface on Drag Race if it wasn't already public knowledge.
Right.
So etc. probably also felt like she's talking about this because she's trying to get ahead of the curve, ahead of the blowback, whatever.
Right. And even bringing up you should do reparations, I would assume that there may have been more in that conversation of like do a charity show and raise money for people, you know, and make that work be your forefront for a while, where you really prove that this is not just fluff words.
Yeah.
So we saw that really lovely, articulate, forward-thinking mindset, which all of the girls in the room recognize. This is the future. This is what the future of drag and people is going to look like, and that's a beautiful thing. And then we saw this boomer mentality of RuPaul saying, I know some people would want me to cancel you over this, but I think this is a learning opportunity, and not articulating that conversation well. Oh, but at all.
Do you know what this was a reminder of? 3 years later, and we're still trying to pretend like cancel culture actually works, because who have we? Because we can't successfully cancel culture. We can't successfully cancel culture. I I feel like all these people want to
Baby.
be like, oh, like they want to cancel me. Oh, I'm getting canceled. Oh, this person's getting canceled.
It really just
But it's
platforms
like-
and bolsters people
Yeah.
with the wrong audience.
That's the thing is cancel culture now just provides an audience to the assholes.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, if these people want them canceled, then we want to platform them and give them
Yeah.
money.
It's literally a big neon sign that says, hey, assholes, go that
Yeah.
way to the hotel.
Yeah.
That's how you get there.
Yeah.
You're racist? That's the person for you.
Yeah.
Hey, you don't like trans people? That's the one for you right there.
Yeah.
Head on down this path and go and hang out with them.
Yeah.
And they just get a resurgence of new fans that are just the horrible ones.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's not what Scarlett wants.
No, and that's not her vibe. I don't think the racists all come to Scarlett like, hey,
No.
girl, we hate black people too.
Right.
No.
Right.
It's
That's
not
certainly
that.
not happening.
But like,
But that's what happens with cancel culture now.
yeah, exactly. And
Quote,
so
unquote.
I think that RuPaul wasn't like, I don't think bringing cancel culture into it was the move.
It wasn't necessary language at all. I think what we saw from etc. extending grace and also saying, however, there are things you got to do the work.
Yeah.
And, you know, here's how you do that. Rude didn't provide that at all and sort of just comes across as this uncaring entity. Like, God, you just flooded the entire world and killed millions of people.
Yeah.
Aw.
And, well, okay.
All right.
Yeah. Before we move on from this topic, I think my last thing is like with RuPaul being the host, I think a problem there is like, say if we even had someone like Queen Kong hosting the series, like I think another cultural note that's missing is you can even just like maybe surmise between her and Karen both being on this season, both having this issue,
Right.
that there's a different perspective and a different conversation about the treatment of black people and dark skinned people in Australia versus in the States, because
Right.
we have a different relationship in our culture with the
Right.
black community than I'm sure they do, and they have a different history, etc. And so, not to excuse that behavior, but it's something that should be acknowledged. And so if we had someone with a little more cultural context to really say like, we still really struggle with colorism here,
Right.
or like this is still like a thing that it's still normalized in certain pockets of culture. Not trying to say like everyone in Australia is racist, like I'm not trying to say that, but like we see it even within our own like sects of different communities in the States, and like we see in other like etc. Like we see in different places, like certain places have different levels of aheadness in colorism, and also just certain places where there's just blind spots, and there's things that are a little more normalized in that culture that like to us are like, wait, what? That's so weird, you know?
Right.
So there's those little like idiosyncrasies there that like I think we're experiencing some of that there. Is like, it seems like we're experiencing like definite blind spots and definite like there's an issue with maybe colorism, or like the what's the word,
Microaggressions.
like making a mockery of that word. Making a parody of like of dark skinned people that we see with both blackface and with the characterization of the tattoos.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like there's clearly some issues there that are indicative of like a different cultural issue maybe over there that we don't, that is different than what is here and the issues we have here.
Right.
So I would love someone who is from there that could really like kind of paint that picture a bit better, of saying like,
and have their finger really on the pulse of the culture.
Of like saying like, this is an issue that we really experience here, and if we want to, you know, showcase our drag with the world, then we want to showcase the best of it.
Right.
Or acknowledge stuff like that in a way, like,
and not be held back by biases regardless of what you've been taught or learned throughout your life.
yeah.
And what might be culturally acceptable.
Yeah, because I think RuPaul's looking at it with the lens of where she's been and where she is at. And I think that there's definitely specific cultural commentary happening with this recurring problem.
Well, like, okay, let's recontextualize this in the case of season 13, where we were having this problem with Elliot and other members of that cast. If it had come out and they had made a storyline of Elliot using some of the language that she was using. And if RuPaul had framed, I'm sure people would want me to cancel you, but this will be a learning opportunity. It is still just as inexcusable because here in the States, there are so many resources. And even where Elliot's from, I mean, it was a battleground state for civil rights or the Civil War, but like it's still not an acceptable terminology. I think it really boils down to Rue being so disconnected from what people are experiencing.
Yeah.
Because in Rue's sphere of things, you can be racist all day long. If you have money, you can do whatever you want. And you can get away with that behavior because you got money. So you can buy yourself into acceptable situations. So like, I hear what you're saying of it would be nicer to have someone whose finger was really on the pulse and was more aware of those micro and macro aggressions that are happening at the cultural level and use that television platform to try and make real actionable change, not just excuse the behavior and say, well, let's move on, because that's not an action plan for anybody else. Yeah. It just provides a quick pearl clutch for people that are not in that culture to be upset and suddenly get a storm, but it doesn't change any of that mentality that's happening in the ground of that still happening in nightclubs to other queens of color. That's not changing queer people that are micro and macro aggressioning their way through life towards those marginalized communities. We've talked a little bit about those communities being treated worse here in the States, and it's a big television platform's responsibility to shine light on that issue and show a path of how to make that better.
Yeah.
Not just hand wave it and say, well, you can use Google later and figure out what you can do.
Yeah, figure it out.
Figure it out, hun. I was disappointed at how that was handled.
Yeah.
Personally. I was really actually very shocked that she was not in the bottom for that.
Yeah.
And at least made to lip sync, because even if that doesn't affect the competition, it affects the sightlines of the TV show.
Yeah.
So
optics.
It's really important in optics. So I was surprised that they didn't punish that in some way of like, all right, we'll go ahead and fight for it now.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the last big humps of the season too.
Yeah. And we lost another key player who, as you mentioned, is the only one who brought up actionable change and accountability.
Yeah.
And then she's gone, and this storyline is never brought up ever again.
Defeated by the microphone. Slayed by the microphone.
Okay. Can we talk about that mic really quick? I want to say, if you're going to use a concert mic in your lip sync, your concert mic has to stay near your mouth. If you are going to lip sync here and your head is going to move back, your mic has to come with it. Your head can't go back and then your mic stays down here unless you are belting. Because if you're singing here and your head is going away.
Oh, it's just like a regular note? Yeah.
Unless you're projecting your voice. But that's not what was happening in this song. Her mic was going away. And it bothers me so much. And I remember Morgan McMichaels was hosting a show that I was performing at, and one of the girls had a mic. And Morgan ripped this girl's asshole in half because her mic was 4 feet away from her face. And she's like, you don't look like you're actually singing on that mic. You look like a girl who's just walking around with a mic in her hand. It could be a prop. It could be a penis. It could be anything. Yeah. That could be a cocktail. It does not have to be a mic because it wasn't near your face. And so even though I thought the sight gag was funny,
that's how you felt in that moment.
I felt in that moment. I said I felt. I did not like that. But I live, laugh, loved when Hannah Conda did it in UK versus the World 2 because she kept that mic next to her face. She was evoking the prop attitude that I wanted.
The Australians love a microphone.
They love a mic. That's what makes Australians
all the acts in Australia sing live.
We don't lip sync. We just stand there.
All right.
So then Maxi Shield is out. We got to start getting through these because we're going to time, I think.
Oh,
Maxi
yeah.
Shield is out next in the family resemblance challenge.
Okay.
This was specifically labeled as family resemblance, and they're given gay rugby team members.
Love
that.
Love that. Okay, because it's the athlete thing from like season 3. That old school like makeover dude, but he's gay, so it's better.
I love that they were gay. It was
Yeah.
the gay vets from season 5.
Yes.
Big dudes that are just flamboyant and fruity and ready to have a good time. And I mean, I enjoyed a lot of the attitude more than I enjoyed the actual runway. I know we love talking about looks, so let's try and do these really quick. So we have Art and Craft Simone. What do you think about these sandal looks and the names?
Was it a Priscilla look or isn't it?
They mentioned Priscilla.
I
haven't seen Priscilla.
Well,
It's on
because
my list.
also what's her face is wearing the racist Scarlett. Yeah, she was also wearing a Priscilla look last week.
Yeah.
Because I mean I'm pretty sure all
Huge.
3 of these are Priscilla looks.
Yeah, huge cultural impact there.
Yeah.
I thought using sandals on the dress was cute, even though it didn't have shape. It was kind of mod
Yeah, I think these are both like direct
interpretations.
costumes
Okay.
or like interpretations. Yeah, I like it's mid for me.
Yeah. Then we have Electra and Riri Action.
Honestly, kind of my favorite.
Can we talk about the tights and how they're not the same color?
Oh, the tights are wretched, but I don't care. They're kind of my favorite. Honestly, them and Karen.
Okay. Karen looks so cute.
Karen's is super cute. This is Karen at her best for me
And
aesthetically.
Debbie from Reception. They
Because
both look cute.
This is like it either like you get tired of it, like it gets old or it clicks, but I like it this time. It's clicking for me this time.
Yeah. Then we have Kita Amphetamine, and I just need to say I hate drug names so much.
Oh yeah.
With the problem that we have in queer culture with drugs, it bothers me so much. But I mean, your name is what it is, so like you can't adjust it. Phetamine is the best thing you could do to keep it in the drug family.
Keep it in the drug family.
I think she looks a little bit like Little Boulay here.
Wow, so brave.
And she looks like Little Boulay next week as well. I love actually both of these looks. I like the polka dot and the stripes.
Yeah, the cover look especially is super stunning.
Did you
Super
like it when
stunning.
it came off?
Not as much. I still liked it, but I like the first look a lot.
Which one between Karen, Electra, and Kita did you like the best?
Karen, Electra, Kita. Ooh.
Because I'm assuming the art's off the table for
I
you.
think that Kita's is technically the best. Karen's the most fun family.
Yeah.
And then Electra's I like because I'm rooting for her underdog.
Sure. This is meant to be a resemblance challenge too.
Yeah.
So on the resemblance side, I thought Karen nailed it, but I liked fashion-wise what Kita did better.
Karen really stamped herself. I think Kita, but also Kita has a more unique mug and really but also it looks like someone else. It doesn't look like Kita. It looks like someone else in the Kita style.
Right.
Which I think is kind of better than like creating an identical twin.
Yeah. And then we have Trend Alert, Color Stories, Green and Pink, Maxi, Shield, and Silhouette in... Do you remember Detox's jellyfish look? A low-scaled version of it.
Yeah,
Detox
that and like
jellyfish.
cotton with these looks are bad.
These colors are gross.
I hate the looks, but I will say I love the name Scylla. First name Scylla, last name
Silhouette.
Wet.
That's so good.
Because your last name is just Wet, W-E-T. That's everything.
They look like nightgowns.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't like.
Have you ever randomized a sim and then you go to change their clothes and they're wearing this?
Wow, drag them.
They look like randomized
Drag
Sims.
Maxine and Scylla.
The mug was beautiful though. I will say.
gorge.
Mug down. But they did look like random Sims to me. They were just missing the plumb bob on top of their head. And then coming out on the runway and saying, Susul.
Stop.
I said what I said. I won't apologize. Keto Parks and Barks. Oh, no, wait. I'm so sorry. I'm skipping forward. The The lip sync for this one is Better the Devil You Know. It's
Kylie Minogue.
Maxie and Scarlett.
I mean, Scarlett does slay it. But
Scarlett slays, but she did everything.
Yeah.
She was splitting. She was strip teasing. She had her legs wide open.
Reese was nervous.
Very that. She looked a little bit desperate to me.
Okay. I don't want to talk about the talent show much because this is a freaking frustrating episode.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my
Electra
gosh.
is out here and next in our lineup, and we have a talent show. What do you think about a talent show as a top 5 challenge?
Okay, it's kind of weird to do such a small group for a talent show.
Right.
It feels like a first episode kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Or episode 2 at the latest.
To do it for such a last minute intimate point of the show is very interesting, and also it really shows that the judging can get crazy.
Yeah.
Because I know we need to get it cooking, but
let's get this roast to cooking.
the bottom for this episode should have been Karen and Art
Okay, fascinating. So
or Kita.
I feel like it should have been Kita. Okay.
Kita and Karen.
I was
and
kind
Art
of
would have been low
bothered
for me.
that Karen was low, and only because this was a Ginny Lemon 2.0. Rue tells her to play sexy.
Oh.
And she sabotages herself by going out in that ugly fetish gear.
Yeah.
Making that single one balloon because she was trying to be sexy, and she like dips it and like rubs herself and is like Jimbo Light.
Yeah.
You know? But then doesn't commit to anything. Twists a singular dog balloon, slaps her ass, and leaves.
Yeah, it should have been her and Kita.
I feel that.
I think that Karen should have been there instead of Electra. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Electra and Scarlett had the 2 best performances of the night.
So good. I mean, Electra's interpretive dance was great, but that scraggly electrocuted hair was not it.
The hair was rough. I mean, Scarlett's one of those queens where her drag is always going to be a detriment to her. Kate Butch.
Invoking her name. I do feel like Art's food eating talent show was a early preparation for Rue to get meat thrown at her in UK versus the World. Like this was...
She was primed for meat.
She was primed for meat. And then, I mean, Kita's was so awful.
Kita's was a double flop because her talent show sucked and her runway was barely a headpiece.
How's Your Headpiece is such a cool concept.
How's Your Headpiece was a great prompt, and I actually really liked most of these looks.
Yeah.
I thought Art slayed. I thought Karen slayed. I thought Scarlett slayed.
Scarlett really
I really
killed
liked
it
everyone's
me.
except for the bottom 2s. And I mean, I even liked Electra's. It was just weak, like, compared to everyone else.
Kita looked a little bit like Betty Spaghetti.
I did not like Heels look at all.
Did not
This
like
was
it even a little
such
bit.
a weak look for her
It was
right for
pretty
the
rotten.
end. Which I think also makes her win kind of rough is her weakest look and her weakest week, both being right before her crowning week. It kind of like, she doesn't really have like an upward trajectory. She just has like a consistency that
We
she
talked
maintains.
about this with Lawrence. That and the final week before her crowning, she's told, get out of your head. Get out of your own way. And that's not something you tell a winner.
Yeah.
And then here, Kita literally has a low placement and bombs so badly, worse than Lawrence did. Because
Yeah.
Lawrence didn't even end up in the bottom. It was like that last minute bomb before the finale and then win trope started here. Because I feel like this was pretty consistent for many seasons where it didn't matter if you flubbed that second to last challenge. If you were
Yeah.
pinned to win, you were getting it no matter what.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit and a lot bit suspicious here. This song was untouched by the Veronicas, and I would have loved Forever. I want that song on Drag Race so bad.
But Untouched is a freaking bop.
Oh, it
though.
was great.
Such a good song.
Kita Parks and Barks, which I thought was fun. Electro needed to pull her wig back like 3 inches.
She did. She also pretends to quit, but then doesn't.
She was just like staring at Kita the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, was she really that dynamic of a performer that she did that? Or was it because this is her boss and she's like, I still want to get booked. Please don't fire me so I
Yeah.
won't win the lip sync.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on there.
She was given $10,000 via PayPal and was said, quit now.
She got her schedule for the rest of the month.
Hey, I will put you in the calendar right now. Let me get you on Google right away. You will be booked and busy for the remainder of the year. Just flub tonight and you're good. If you want to have a career after this. She looks like Little Boulay again, Kita.
Drag her. Drag Little Boulay.
Does she not? That's Little Boulay.
I see it, but knowing what her voice sounds like, I know that it's not her. That's not her.
She's not a Christian. So let's get this roast finally cooking, unless you have anything else you want to say with this talent show.
No.
Our top 4 is Scarlett, who this really felt like it was supposed to be her season. She has 3 challenge wins, but she has a huge scandal following her. So there's no possible way you can crown this woman. You have Karen from finance, who was, I feel like, very consistent all season in what she was doing, but was not consistently excellent.
No, and seemed to be given some passes.
Very Ellie Diamond coded.
Ooh, okay.
But I feel like even Ellie had some strong points through the competition. Like, it almost feels like an unfair assessment, but that's the only character I can think of that's been close to that. We have Art Simone, who I feel like was the obvious favorite, but went home.
Yeah.
And then came back with no reason. So there's not really a good enough excuse to crown her because she's been a straight line all season in her trajectory.
She never did terrible, but she also never knocked out of the park since she came back.
Well, Snatch Game was terrible. I don't think we should say never
since she came
terrible.
back.
Okay.
Since she came back.
I feel like episode 1 was really strong.
Yeah.
I mean, if they already knew they were going to keep this woman to the end, I wish they hadn't even sent her home. And then done a double save somewhere.
Or just in a art, wait.
art.
Yeah.
And then we have Kita Mean, who had this really huge storyline all season, but she was safe all season long.
Yeah.
It's so odd for a winner to have made almost no splash in the competition.
Yeah, because even if, I don't know, I feel like even if they had tried to course correct post filming, I feel like even in the edit, she could have been more of a central character, but I felt like they just didn't even show her much. Like, she didn't get all of the confessionals, she didn't get all of the interactions with other people. Like, I didn't feel like you saw her more than you really saw anyone else, or like in a different way. So I just think that like she's really cool and she's really sweet, but the edit was interesting with her for sure.
I agree.
More top model though, honestly, because a lot of the top model girls fly under the radar a lot.
Yeah. I'm just curious, what about her seemed like the one to give it to? As like our very first Down Under winner, you're going to represent the franchise. It seemed like of anybody in that room, Karen and Art were the two that were going to carry the legacy the best. Yeah. And had the name already behind them.
Something else I will say, if the challenge was, the final challenge was a challenge with a win, I think that Keto would have won it.
Oh, yeah?
I think she had the best performance of the 4. I really liked her performance.
I liked Art's verse the best. And I thought the performances were kind of mid, but I liked her verse of A to the R, let me serve you the T.
Yes.
That was brilliant. And then as much as I, don't like her, I did like Scarlett's verse, when you cut that check, better write it to Scarlett. Yeah. That was a brilliant verse.
Well, so I think that's why I like Kia's, because most of them did, them two did like fierce like drag race verses. Karen talked. And then Kita did kind of like, Karen's was honestly the only one that actually to me matched like the vibe of the song. Yeah. Because Karen's was actually, Kita's was very like sweet. Yeah. It was like very like sweet, earnest, like inspirational. Which kind of like, I don't know, I actually quite liked it. It took me by surprise, where I was like, Arts and Scarlett's were extremely standard. Arts had really good wordplay. But they both were just like such like standard Drag Race verses for me. Yeah.
I thought the finale was interesting because
they make all doing it individually.
All individually to Physical by Olivia Newton-John.
And everyone else having to sit and watch.
In gowns. Like, not that physical is the most intense, like pussy pop, drop it, drop it, drop it.
No.
But it does have some moments where the song calls for you to be sexy.
There's something weird about like watching the cut of all four of them like trying to perform it in gowns.
Yeah.
Except for Scarlett, who of course was prepared and came out in her little corset underwear moment.
Yeah.
But it's something so weird about all of them like kind of just bobbing around in these huge cumbersome outfits. Like,
it was kind of the same as doing Stupid Love in gowns.
oh yeah.
Like, let them change before the lip sync or something, darling.
Whose was your favorite?
I'm such a simp for her, and I'm really trying to like not simp, but I mean I loved Art a lot, but my favorite, I really liked Karen.
Karen's really?
I loved Karen.
Her the point and walk.
Yeah.
Hers was funny. Honestly, Kita's made me laugh. The weird like finger glove thing she did.
Oh, the fisting.
Yeah, the fisting, and then she like had the little like pee-pee like that she was running with, like,
And then
so
smelled
weird.
it. I mean, it was weird. I kind of enjoyed it, and I liked the idea of what it was. But like, I just really loved Karen. I thought she was
Karen's
so good.
was pretty funny. She was just so stupid.
Yeah.
I immediately opened. She's like, like the huge face. She was funny.
Yeah.
But also like she's such a troll at the same time.
Truly. I just was wondering, like, was Kita a really big player in this season that I just wasn't paying attention to? Did I miss something? Did I have a stroke? Was I not paying attention at all? Because like her winning sort of comes out of left field for me, because she did not. I can't think of any players of the winners up until now that are comparable.
I think for me, watching it in real time, Kita made the most sense, because as soon as it wasn't Scarlett, she was the only person I could see.
Got it.
And so the rest of the season, I was waiting for it to not for me to be proved otherwise.
Got it.
And she didn't. So I think that's why I guess it didn't surprise me. Is like, I did think, oh, is it going to be Scarlett? But Scarlett has a scandal. Like, what's going to happen? So then
Right.
the blackface thing happened, and it was addressed. I was like, so it's not going to be Scarlett, and I knew it wasn't going to be Art, because she got sent home, and I just knew they wouldn't send her home, bring her back, not give her a win, and crown her. I was like,
Right.
Art. It wasn't in the cards for Art. So looking at the group that was left, the remaining options were like Maxi and etc. Etc. went home that episode. I knew it wasn't going to be Maxi, and I knew it wasn't going to be Elektra.
She would have had a really cool winner storyline.
She would have had
brought
an
her to the
amazing
end.
one, but they never had that for her. She was never an underdog. So I knew that wasn't going to be her. So I was just like, I feel like Kita's the next best person to win of this group. And so it's kind of just waiting for her to either flounder or like prove it. But it was kind of, she just was steady enough for the rest of it.
I get
think
that.
That was it.
Season fix. Give me a top 4 that you think would have been viable had someone who was actually from Down Under was judging. Who do you think may have gotten there that would have deserved it a bit more?
I mean, I would have been curious to see Anita a couple more episodes, and I would have been curious to see Coco a couple more episodes.
Yeah,
I
same.
think just the early outs are really what could have made her braid.
Broken?
Yeah,
That word.
made a braid.
I would have loved to have seen as the finale, Anita, etc. Maybe Karen.
Okay.
And I mean, I thought she was a mess, but Elektra would have made a really interesting final player.
Yeah.
There were so many decisions that were made through the season that were very different than what I'm used to with not only Drag Race, but just reality TV in general. Like you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, it felt like a Ryan Murphy season. It really did feel like that. Like you came into this with zero plan, and if you had one, you scrapped it midway through.
Yeah.
Because I think the only real viable players that seemed like they were the winners were Art and Scarlett. Art went home with no attempt to try and stop that and double save. Because I feel like that could have been Art's saving grace if they had been like, Shantae, you both stay. You're good.
Yeah.
And then we're just going to leave it at that. We're going to keep the same amount of episodes and just have one double save. Or if Scarlett hadn't had that scandal.
Yeah, but
And she would have won. Scarlett
Yeah.
would have been the winner if that had not been a thing for her.
Because that kind of felt like the game plan.
Yeah, totally. It felt like it was supposed to be Art and Scarlett at the top at the very end. Bring Art back. I almost wonder at some point if right after that scandal happened, if they were maybe planning up until that point to give Art more wins in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
But then they were like, oh, well, okay, the scandal just happened, so having an Art Scarlett top 2 doesn't make any sense. So we got to abandon that storyline. And our only other viable players are Karen, who we don't really like that much, and Kita, who we tolerate and is here.
Yeah.
So we'll give it to her because we like her more than we dislike anybody else that's remaining.
Of who's left.
The scraps. But from my understanding, this sort of sets up a trajectory for other winners in Italia and España, maybe, for winners that never won a singular challenge.
Wait, doesn't Kita win? Does she not win the makeover?
She gets her one win.
Oh.
But like she kind of was floundering all season. And was just like not good all season. She certainly didn't get a winner run like we've been used to. Typically we get 2 wins, maybe no bottoms, no real bad critiques throughout the season. Lawrence was kind of like one of the more recent ones that sort of got bad critiques consistently in the second half. But like, you know, Kita has a sort of mid-run with a singular challenge win, and I feel like sets up for other seasons to be like, oh, so they don't have to fit the rubric. You don't have to have multiple wins and do excellent all season. You can sort of coast and be fine.
I think Evie does that as well.
Totally.
I think Evie does that for the mainline seasons. Kylie does that for All Stars. And then I think Kita's the first international queen to do that before Electra in Italy.
Right. Any final thoughts about Down Under that we breezed through?
I mean, Down Under is just such a fever dream of a season. I feel like, if anything, my thoughts are just like most of the women from this cast are quite lovely. So I hope that the negativity directed towards some of the people in this season doesn't come across as towards other people. Because there's a lot of gems on this group. Like I said, I freaking love etc. I mean, even people like Maxi. Maxi was very sweet, very fun. She was a harmless, great time.
She really was. She did not make me feel unsafe during the season.
No.
Like some other characters this series did.
Yes.
I want to know how this season got renewed.
Okay, it's a mystery every season. And like there's some like, I will say, going back to like the cast being nice, like there's some crazy dark-sided threatening people coming up and Down Under.
Dark-sided and threatening.
So this is really quite a lovely cast, sans like the problematic people. So that
disturbs my soul a little
You're
bit.
not ready for nothing too bad. I'm talking about Minnie Cooper. We'll get to her.
I'm really excited for Hannah.
I'm
really
so excited for Down
Hannah.
Under 2, honestly. I'm very much looking forward to Down Under 2.
Yeah. I'm so scared for everybody else, though. Now,
no,
now that you've
don't
said
worry.
these
Minnie
words.
Cooper isn't Down Under. Oh, wait, is she? Oh, shoot. No, she is. Oh, no. Well, we'll get to it.
I hope no one's mad at us for breezing through this season in one go, but I mean, I feel like this and Holland 2 are like the ones that everyone kind of universally agrees, like, you probably don't need to watch it if you don't have to.
Yeah, we can one episode this, we can one episode Holland 2, speaking of which.
Yeah, that's coming up in a couple of months.
We can one episode Down Under 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do like 2 for Down Under 2, depending on what happens.
Maybe a 2 for 2. I wouldn't be mad about that. We'll see.
Next up is España 1.
Oh,
that'll be my first time ever seeing it. I don't know the winner. I don't know the contestants. Wait, hold on. Is this Carmen's season?
Maybe.
Okay. If it's Carmen's season, then I know Carmen. I know of her.
Yeah.
I don't know
Carmen
anything else.
Farala.
I know she wins. That's literally the only España winner. I've seen other names, but they are gone from my brain.
Yeah.
Because if I don't have a face to the name, it's been forgotten.
I'm very excited for you to get into it.
I feel like this whole season is a controversial opinion, so we don't need to give one unless you desperately have one you want to give.
I can't think of any, TBH.
The only question I have before we finish
Okay.
of this cast,
Okay.
who do you want to see in Global or a Versus the World?
Electra and etc.
Okay.
Electra, etc.
I would say etc. as well, now that I've seen it. And I mean, I would love to see Art have a redemptive storyline.
Yeah,
I think Art is brilliant.
I think Art would be a versus the world.
Definitely.
I could see etc. on like a UK.
Oh,
I could
totally.
see Art on either a global All Stars if they do it again, because I think she'd be a great global All Stars rep, or if they either do Down Under versus the world or any versus the world.
I would
'Cause she
love
could be
to see that.
I think Art could also be good for Canada.
Ooh, Brooke judging her?
Yeah.
Brooke would love Art's drag, I feel.
Because maybe just not having her in front of RuPaul would be good.
I mean, I think that's pretty apparent at this point.
Right.
Well, thanks for doing Down Under with me. I'm excited for España.
Yes. Me too as well.
I'm really excited. We will do that next week. Join us then for some beautiful Spanish queens. I'm so excited.
It's going to be the moment, girl.
It's going to be the moment. I'm so excited. Thank you all for listening. Remember, you're doing a fantastic job. You're doing the best you can. And that is all you can do. Goodbye.
Bye.
Do they say anything in Australia that's goodbye? I don't think so.
I'm blanking.
They say good day.
I'm blanking, Your Honor. Good night, good night, good night.
Good night, good night, good night. Oi, oi, oi.